And now, it's Boomer Life, lifestyle discussion designed to make your life more engaging, meaningful, and complete. Celebrating the baby boomer generation, this is Boomer Life on CIL 650.
And welcome to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. A well-thought-out plan for your financial future is an integral part of building the life that you want for yourself and for your family. And on Boomer Life today, we're going to be talking about your financial future with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group Financial Services, Inc. In more detail, on today's show, we're going to be talking a little bit about retirement planning, also touch on topics to consider if you run a family-owned business and if you suddenly find yourself single, and financial matters concerning widowhood. Now, Jim, I understand that you hold a number of designations. You're a certified financial planner, a chartered life underwriter, a registered trust and estate practitioner, a certified divorce financial analyst, as well as a certified international wealth manager. You're also a graduate of the UBC Sauder School of Business Family Enterprise Advisor Program. And I'm not sure if I've even asked you this before, but why so many designations?
Well, thanks for noticing, Joanne. You raise a good point. For the clients I work with, they expect me to be able to bring issues forward and to help them find solutions, even when the solutions may be non-financial. As a financial planner, after 25 years in practice, I've learned that no one person can know everything. However, these designations allow me insight on the many issues that impact client lives. Now, they also allow me to understand or be familiar with how the other professionals work and the challenges they might face when addressing client issues.
So what I hear you saying, that all of those designations and titles helps complete the big picture of investing and financial planning. Whether a person is single or divorced or going through one, healthy, young, old, etc., your experience has prepared you for what your clients bring forth. Now, you can't do all of this work alone. Tell us about who works with you.
Now, I think every advisor probably says this, but I've got a great team. Amber's my administrative assistant. She's got 22 years of industry experience, and it shows. My clients just love her. Then I have Paige. She's my marketing assistant. She helps maintain the existing client relationships and the allied professional relationships that we help, and she helps forge new ones. She's very talented. Then I've got our in-house professionals. We have an insurance specialist, a mortgage specialist, and a security specialist in our office. And in addition to that support team, I'm privileged to have access to our specialists in head office in Winnipeg that help provide in the areas of taxes, estate planning, and other unique needs. This support system speaks volumes to the strength of Investors Group. Actually, now that I think about it, this is probably one of the things that attracted me to join Investors Group. I also have a deep Rolodex of professional contacts, experts in their fields who add real values to client relationships. I could never do all of this by myself.
And I'm a little bit surprised by this, but I've learned that you work in a number of areas that I wouldn't normally associate with my financial planner, like divorce issues, issues surrounding family business, issues around wills and estate planning.
My core business is financial planning, but to do it well, you need a good understanding of what's going on in people's lives and an awareness of areas that may represent risk or areas that might need attention from other professionals. I think that to do financial planning well, Joanne, you've got to understand that life is made up of a number of moving parts. It's not just about the investments. It's not just about the insurance. It's about the elements that make up a person's daily life that could impact them in ways that they're not even aware of.
Can you just give us an example of some of those things that might surprise us or impact us? Are you talking about kids or parents or death or?
I think all of those things are important to be aware of. It's one of those things that we never want to face, our mortality or the not so nice things that could potentially happen in our lives.
So something unexpected.
Yes.
I get you. Sounds like you could be one of Vancouver's best kept secrets. Where were you 10 years ago when I needed you?
Joanne, I'm right here. With your help, I'm hoping that we can change that.
Let's revisit the question then, and the main topic of discussion when it comes to financial planning. Will we have enough money for retirement?
You know, Joanne, I'm still wrestling with the reality that most people spend more time planning their next 2 weeks vacation than they do looking at their financial situation in their future. It's hard enough when you're facing the decisions that go into, say, buying a house or buying a car. They need specific advice for the here and now. Now, retirement, that's another matter, and the questions often come later.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's hard to envision the lifestyle we want in retirement. Well, let me put it another way. When you book a vacation package or a hotel, we often choose based on the number of stars. Do I want a 1-star vacation all the way up to a 7-star? I think it's pretty easy to make that sort of a decision.
So why is retirement so much different than that? Why are we reluctant to even engage in planning for retirement?
If I asked someone if they wanted a 1-star or a 2-star or a 5-star retirement, could they describe it? I bet we all choose a 5-star one if we thought we could afford it. Secondly, would they be comfortable describing how they were going to finance it, figuring out how to get there from here? That takes some planning ahead of time. And for a lot of people, that's not something they're comfortable figuring out. They need the help of a financial planner to make sense of all of the essential details.
Well, I know I'm guilty of this, but if people put as much time into planning their retirement as they do planning their vacations, they'd be a lot better off.
Joanne, I agree. The missing element we haven't spoken of is working with an advisor. Advised families build more wealth, according to the Financial Planning Standards Council. Having someone draw your attention to financial matters that need attention on a regular basis, I think that's where the value comes from. By focusing on the 6 pillars of financial planning, rather than just a few, you're going to achieve stronger results.
Right? Well, no one wants to hear that they can only afford a 1-star retirement.
I think it's important that people begin with a vision. If you're not a numbers person, which I think a lot of people aren't, start with a vision. I believe satisfaction goes way up when I can get people talking about what really matters, the hows and whys of things that are important to their lives.
Well, I'm not a numbers person, but I do have an idea of what I want my retirement to look like, and I know a lot of my friends do as well, even my spouse. So what I'm hearing you say is you don't need great math skills to get ahead when it comes to financial planning. You just need someone to help you and someone to ask the right questions, and I guess that's where you would come in.
Thank you. People I meet with sometimes feel overwhelmed by anxiety and concerns about financial planning. When they're facing issues around paying for, say, the parents' care or nursing home costs, or deciding how you can help the kids buy their first home, these are big picture planning concerns. Often, they need immediate attention.
I don't think a lot of our listeners have even considered the fact that their parents' financial situation could actually affect their own retirement plans.
I have to agree. I meet with boomers regularly who expect things to get easier once the kids have moved out. They're ready to start the serious planning for their own retirements. The number of parents admitting to financially helping out aging parents or their adult children is pretty high. But I think that's where the term, the sandwich generation, comes from. They're being squeezed from both sides.
And I know we'll be talking a lot more about this sandwich generation issues later in our show. I'm actually looking forward to it.
I am too.
To be old or aging and know that you're running out of money is pretty scary. Yet we're given the same advice over and over: save more, work longer, but it's not always that simple, is it?
When I ask people how much income they think they'll need for retirement, it can be pretty difficult to come up with a number here. Ask about dollar amounts and from what sources, and I think most people feel less secure. Add in talk about inflation and what it might look like or feel like over time, and that sense of certainty maybe takes another hit. There's also another item of note. In decades past, many women felt that managing the money was someone else's responsibility. But now, more and more women are stepping up and taking control of their financial lives.
I'd have to agree, because it used to be the man in the family that controlled the money in our parents' generation, and I also agree that it's definitely changing. There's a lot more involved than just the numbers, and even the numbers aren't as cut and dried. I think I'm starting to see why you need a plan, just to put all those variables on the table.
Joanne, you're right. Even substantial wealth is no guarantee you won't burn through your fortune well before you die. Maintaining your standard of living without worrying about it, that's a paramount concern for most retirees. Now, it's true, richer retirees have more options to preserve their fortunes for life. However, they're also more likely to use the advice of a financial advisor, and I think that's part of the answer.
So I guess the tricky part when we're looking to avoid running out of money is that we just really have no idea of how long we're actually going to live. I know a big part of your practice is actually working with widows.
One of the hardest parts for most widows is coping with money issues during the early stages of crushing grief. Neither their heads nor their hearts want to make important decisions. This is especially true when death is unexpected.
It's got to be hard to create a new life and chart a course for changes they didn't ask for or want or even expect.
You're so right. Many widows tell me they weren't ready for widowhood. New widows in the early stages tell me that they're highly stressed and often say things like they feel numb or in a fog or even like they're going crazy. They've been navigating their darkest passage. They want me to understand their needs. They want to be heard and they want to feel safe.
I can't even imagine trying to maintain financial decisions in the midst of grief. And you've mentioned before that about 70% of widows actually leave their advisors after their spouse dies. That's a pretty large number. What do you do that's different, and what would you say to other advisors?
I'd like to hope that all advisors would be communicating with a fair bit of empathy at this time. Forget the cliches. They're not helpful. Sometimes a grieving spouse just doesn't want the world to forget their spouse. Sharing a memory about their husband can help keep the memory alive.
So what sort of things can you do to actually help?
I don't want the experience to feel like financial triage. They don't need to make all the decisions right away. Yes, there are a few things from my experience that they could use a little help with, like checking cash flow, making sure bills are paid, insurance is in force, maybe some help applying for death benefits. I'm not there to tell them what to do. I would like to offer help to make decisions that are right for her and her family.
So what do you say to them about dealing with the life insurance proceeds or their current portfolios?
Well, the first thing I'd like them to hear is that they don't have to address everything right away. Some things are okay to come back to and look at when their thinking normalizes. Things like repositioning portfolios or investing the insurance proceeds. Parking money in a safe vehicle until new goals are set and they're ready to have these discussions just makes sense to me.
Jim, I get a sense that at this time, your role can be to help be the actual thinking partner of the widow.
There's so much else that could be going on. Career or post-retirement decisions, housing issues, maybe education planning. They need to arrive at many of these decisions, and they need the time to do it. Sometimes we're called upon to help guard against well-meaning friends with hot investment tips. I want them to know that I'm here for them, that there's nothing you have to do immediately about your accounts. Just take care of yourself and let your family and friends step up. How about if I can call you at such and such a time and we can talk then?
The grief process is completely different for everyone. So in your practice, what sort of things do you consider?
When death is sudden, it can take longer. It may be up to a year before a widow transitions from grief. So being ready to start looking forward. Oh, let me try that again. When death is sudden, it can take longer. It may be up to a year before a widow transitions from grief to be ready to start looking forward. When they're ready, we're here to help.
In a time of widowhood or grief or divorce, your planner can be just the person you need to turn to. A supportive advisor will help implement your plan and keep you on track when your life changes suddenly or drastically. You're listening to Boomer Life on CL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton. Today we are speaking with Jim Doyle, Senior Financial Consultant with Investors Group. Still a lot more to come on this show, including some real-life examples of how Jim helps manage unexpected change and life's difficult transitions. That's coming up next on Boomer Life on CL 650. And to learn more about how Jim Doyle can help with your financial situation, simply give him a call, toll free at 1-800-665-7178 or locally at 604-682-5431. We'll be right back.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.